Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to be talking about Rogue Trader. You see, a small while back I was invited to check out the multiplayer stuff and I was really curious because obviously I've not really played the other Owlcat games, which yes, I know they're on my to-play list because a lot of people have been speaking very highly about, but I was very curious about how it's going to work for a Warhammer game, specifically 40K. So I was able to sit down with another content creator, Cormaca TV, who is quite well versed with everything to do with Owlcat, and I believe his channel will also have a 1 hour and a bit long playthrough of what we were doing. Mostly it was just seeing how everything would work, and to be honest, it wasn't too bad. I was actually quite impressed. So when joining in as a player, you have to enter a lobby ID, join that specific lobby. So far, it's up to 6 players, which actually threw me off. I wasn't expecting such a large party. It actually means that I can sit down with a number of friends and just completely meme around. I don't play a lot of CRPGs, and the ones that I do are mostly single player, or I prefer playing single player, but when it comes to something like 40K, I want to play with a bunch of friends, and this works out quite well. So you join in there, you get given a character, and it's pretty fluid. You can even, in the middle of battles, give someone a character, take that character away. I'm going to have clips of that later. The majority of the things that are done in the outside, you know, with your void ship right now is the main player, so that would be the game host. And that's going to change in the future. They do have plans to actually allow for functionality for that, but I have no idea if that's becoming a feature at launch or not. The most important thing to note is that you will not be making a character, so if you join up with your friends, it will be fresh from their campaign, which I know some people might not be too keen on, but this is to keep continuity going, I guess, for the campaign, and possibly not having someone drop in and be way too powerful. No idea if this is planned to change in the future, but I did speak to a bunch of friends when the embargo dropped about this, and they were like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, we'll be playing together anyway, so yeah, I get what they mean. Now, one thing that you do have to note is when it comes to dialogue, and there's obviously going to be a decent amount of dialogue, yeah, that's going to be the host. So the host is the one that's going to be going over all the dialogue options. I would like it in the future if there was some sort of voting system. It would help quite a bit, just in case the host had to go AFK or something, because it would speed things along a little bit, and in general, it would just be a good quality of life feature. One thing we didn't unfortunately test, and that would have been hindsight to be honest, is what happens when all the characters are given to one specific player. You see, if you play with a buddy and he has to go AFK and he's the host, he can give you all the characters. I'm imagining, yes, maybe at that point you'll be able to do the dialogue options and it might just be tied to the Rogue Trader character, but unfortunately we were not able to check that out. But as it stands with the gameplay stuff, everything is as expected, so you'll be able to do everything, you know. You'll be able to play your character, move around, go to completely different rooms. You don't have to be tied close to the host of the game. Now, you can't go into separate rooms as in separate loading screens. You'll have to be tied together, but I mean, that's perfectly fine. You can level up your character as you wish. You can switch stuff around. Combat itself is going to be as pretty much everything in a CRPG, right? So it's a turn-based system. You'll eventually be able to place your character down as needed. There is deployment, there is everything there. So yeah, I mean, it feels fairly fluid, I must say. We played for a total around 2 hours and everything felt good. I don't think that we dealt with any bugs whatsoever. The main reason why I wanted to check this out is because it's a Warhammer game, and while things can look good in paper, they can go wrong. I mean, the past few years of Warhammer games have been a perfect example of that, haven't they? But yeah, I'm fairly keen. The deployment system works quite well when you get into combat. There's a bunch of stuff that's happening on screen. Now, I've done a few videos on this game before, and I must say combat is extremely satisfying. It's just fun. It's very XCOM-y. I know some people might not be too keen on that, but yes, you can completely miss your mark and then hit an ally or potentially hit someone else. So keep in mind that if you've got a friend who likes going up close, maybe if he's playing the Space Wolf, for example, make sure you're not firing too much in his direction because there is a chance that you can hit him. This also goes with stuff like explosives or a burst shot. This is actually something that we learned whilst we were there, because I think I ended up shooting him or he ended up shooting me. But yeah, the pre-deployment for battles is done at the exact same time, so you and your ally can actually plan out quite well. Again, quite useful. You expect this to happen, but with certain other games, let's be honest, it doesn't really work. So at least this one, it's good. You know, it works out quite well. And then straight into the battle. go in, do as much damage as possible, and hope for the best, because even though this is a CRPG, this is a Warhammer game, and you're always going to end up rolling low anyways. But yeah, really enjoyed how everything felt fluid. We didn't really have any issues whatsoever. At this point, this is where we tested out, because I only had the Sister of Battle, and it was dropped in, the character was dropped in for me. It's kind of cool that it can happen during the battle itself. Again, maybe you're in a big boss fight, and there is some pretty big fights from what we've been able to see, with no spoilers, of course. One of the problems when making videos on story-based games is trying to avoid spoilers, and I think I've been trying my absolute best here, because this game is coming out soon, and I really want you guys to experience it for your own, without being spoiled by myself. Especially since this game comes out in, what, a month? And it's not too long. I've been pretty enjoying what I've been playing, so it's definitely something that I think you guys will like if you've been wanting for a Warhammer CRPG. Now, there is one thing that I really don't like so far, the ping system, right? So you use Alt to ping into different locations, and it's not very clear where the ping actually is, which if you're trying to plan out with an ally, it could do with like a big marker, or hell, if there was a mini-map in the game, that I think that would make things a lot better. That's my only real criticism about multiplayer, in all honesty. Which, well, other than the dialogue system, but yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. When there's very minimal complaints about something, it obviously means that things are going in the right direction. I do have to point out, obviously, that the combat might feel a little slow from what you're seeing on screen, but it's because we were making sure that everything was working as intended. We were just trying out touching little buttons and so on. The idea was making sure that everything worked, because I'll be honest with you, I'm at that point where if I've got a game in a early access point of view, you know, as a content creator, and it just doesn't work, I'm just not going to cover it. So I wanted to make sure that everything worked as intended, and that means that I be confident enough and comfortable enough, better yet said, to actually make some videos on it. From an early first impression, and obviously being able to have played this game a number of times, I kind of like the idea of everything so far with the multiplayer features. This is going to be great for you guys, especially if you guys play any of the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay games. If you want to actually just like have something different, you know, something more visual as an actual game rather than the typical roleplay experience, which is obviously more imagination based. This is something that you guys might be into. For multiple playthroughs, there are a lot of different ways that you can handle yourself in the game, and at least I've seen a fair amount of stuff, and there's apparently more from what I've been hearing. So yeah, definitely something that you're going to want to play with a group. I mostly am a solo player, but I want to actually play this with a few friends, because they've been hyped for it for a while, and yeah, I'm more incentivized now to see everything working smoothly. Again, always kind of worried when game companies say, yeah, there's going to be multiplayer, and it just doesn't work, right? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Are you hyped for this? Are you going to be playing with some friends? A little bit of a shorter video than I would have hoped, and it's mostly because, again, I just don't want to spoil anything for you. I'm going through specific areas, like what you can see on screen right now is just an area which I'm exploring through with the other player. There's a lot of kind of fun stuff, and in general, it's just great to see everything working as intended. But yeah, have a good day, guys. I'll see you all again very, very soon. I've got some really cool stuff on the way. I think that you're going to particularly like a certain video that I'm doing, but yeah, I'll see you again.